Welcome back, guys. Hanwha Life coming out swinging tonight. And in game number 1, the Leona pick in the first round doing work in the bottom side. They win a big fight up here, and it was just honestly dominated from Hanwha Life from early to late. The Kai'Sa popping off in a big way, even more so as the game went on.
I know my perspective is that they dominated the draft as well. Got the Kai'Sa off, we were thinking, oh yes, of course, into the Ezreal. Surely it's going to be the Jhin. They went for the Kai'Sa, and I feel like we never saw the adaptation from Afreeca Freecs. The Anivia, slow moving, doesn't really have true threat onto a Kai'Sa, especially if you start to fall behind. Some great Baron moves here with the Realm Warp, cementing the Rise priority, which is higher and higher for so many teams in Korea. And while the ending wasn't clean by any means, I think Hanwha Life could make the mistakes because they took their opportunities in the early game very, very well, and it just wasn't really competitive between Afreeca Freecs and Hanwha Life Esports.
Yep, this fight definitely told the story as Songyun got double flashed engaged upon and had more health than full with some extra shields to boot, and just took them both out and ended the game. So that was all it took. Just a little bit of fire at the end as well. Key even taking damage after the Nexus went down, but it did not matter. The game fact's going to be heavily in favor of Hanwha Life, of course. They rolled high on the Drakes, as you were talking about before, double Mountain, double Infernal, and it was very one-sided to the side of Hanwha Life.
Just good to see Hanwha Life showing up in a big match. It was their big criticism in the past, could beat up on the low teams that would struggle against teams like Afreeca Freecs. They will be cementing themselves as a better team than Afreeca if they can win this match. But it's the 2-0 they're searching for. Your MVP will be Songhwan. He knows that he is the troll of all trolls in Korea. He didn't need effective gankings. He didn't need damage percentage because he had pillars and good work.
And he always gives you that smirk into the camera, especially here at Spo TV. And he's kind of quietly snuck up to 4th place in the MVP rankings. He's gotten it 8 times here for the summer split.
And that's 1,000 as the current line for 1st place. That is, of course, Khan, who has been in and out of the roster. I don't even know if he's going to be playing in our 2nd match tonight. The best of Songhwan, the worst of Songhwan is a very, very fun kind of thing to watch. You definitely know how Songhwan is doing, but depending on how much time he spends AFK and a brush. It's going to be a player change to no one's surprise. It's time for Spirit to come in. This man has been grinding, Valdez. Spirit has played 100 games of solo queue in his last 7 days.
That's incredible, actually. That's really, really hard to do. Also means if you have that much time to play solo queue, maybe he's not scrimming as much, or maybe he's just putting the extra hours into his play.
Knowing Spirit, I guarantee he was both balancing scrims. He certainly wasn't in all of them. They're starting Mowgli today. But this guy is a grinder. He is a super hard worker. So he has put in an unbelievable amount of solo queue to get ready. He did this last year as well. You remember when he was out of the team at the start of Afreeca's life, back in the Marin days, he played a similar amount of solo queue over 7 days. He only knows one way to get better, and that's to practice. His practice is certainly on as we get into pick and bans.
Well, they're going to need him to show up on the stage as well. Let's jump into pick and bans for game 2. This time Hanwha Life on the blue side. Let's see what they want to ban out with those blue side bans. As the red side, it's gone back to kind of, you know, Aatrox Taliyah every time.
Most played in the last 7 days is one that maybe people won't want to remember. The Evelyn is the most played for Spirit in the last 7 days. Put it this way, he's played 42 games of Evelyn in a week. Can you even imagine what that means? He's 24 and 18, so positive win rate. He's also been able to grind to rank 70 challengers, so he is certainly on a win streak. We'll see if the Evelyn gets considered here in a must-win best-of-1 for Afreeca Freecs. Again, guys, we'll talk about it a couple of times. The equation is if Hanwha Life win this game and go 2-0, only that scoreline is enough to kick out Afreeca Freecs from the playoffs.
Yep, they want to do it today. They don't want to have to get another 2-0, hope that Afreeca lose to make it, you know, in their favor. But yeah, I mean, the Evelyn That's 6 games of Evelynn every day for a week. That's a lot of Evelynn, and I've been playing a lot of solo queue too. There is a lot of Evelynn on the ladder. It's becoming a lot more popular. It's a pretty good pick right now.
But if my doctor prescribed me 6 games of Evelynn every day, I wouldn't be able to fill that prescription. It's too much damn Evelynn to play. So we'll see how good Afreeca can look if they do select it. In terms of selections, the Tahm Kench first pick for every team, not just Kingzone and Gen G, is the current meta, so we will see it snapped up by Key.
Yeah, makes it interesting for Tucson this time around. He got the Rakan, and we were praising that. You know, first pick Rakan, fantastic for Tucson, loves to engage. Do you pick it up here against Tahm Kench? They'll decide no and go for the cow instead.
They are red side, and if you don't see a first round jungle, maybe as Hanwha Life you just ban Evelynn in the second round, because it's one thing to play against a player who's played Evelynn once in Pro Play, and there's another thing for 42 games in Challenger recently. I'm sure Hanwha Life players have all played against it, given how much of the solo queue he's been playing. For now, at least, Afreeca Freecs very strong. Power draft, Alistar Varus, full bot lane. The Varus very, very safe. If Lava takes Azir, I guess there's a chance we see Yukal-style mid lane Varus, but it's actually going to be a first round marksman this time by Hanwha Life. They're taking the Jhin into the Varus. Bit of a farm lane between the two, but Varus favored in terms of the ability to push and also harass.
I've quickly become a fan of the Jhin nowadays, the incredible amount of damage you can do and how fast he sprints around. They're going to pick up the Rise early again, so a lot of importance put on that one pick by Hanwha Life.
And do consider what they have now. They have Realm Warp and Abyssal Voyage. Hanwha Life were always a team that loved 4 teleports and to end laning phases with a teleport to side lanes. They're very good at playing the side lanes, as Cassiopeia was buffed on this patch, but the Vel'Koz banned in Game 1 has been the standby for Lava and Kuro in recent memory. Very good matchup into the Rise. Small chance that you see that, and consider flexing the Rise to top lane if you're Hanwha Life Esports.
Kuro, he had that one bit of a sad game on the Vel'Koz, lost another one, but he's definitely really, really good on the pick.
And it wasn't a KDA-wise sad game, it was a face check and losing the game.
Yeah.
KDA around 10 after 4 games of that Vel'Koz. No top lane is selected between the two unless we do see that flex on the Rise, and some standbys being banned. Did notice from game number 1 that while Keen has mastered most of the top laners, it feels like the Gnar is one that he plays decently, but doesn't beggar belief, like his amazing play on the Gangplank and the Darius, for example. See if the GP is the second ban by Hanwha Life.
Trundle taken away. So on, he's pretty good on the pick. They don't want to give that over to him this time around. So just going to take that off the board. What is going to be the ban here? You were talking about GP, definitely something you can expect.
GP or Evelynn, honestly, are the 2 bans I'd be considering here if I'm Hanwha Life, and just be intimidated by what you see in the solo rank. The GP is the standard one. If there's a 5th big jungler, you have to feel like something frisky is coming from Afreeca. If it's now, the Kindred is the other old standby of Afreeca Freecs, where they would have a pretty squishy lineup, and Kindred's been deprioritized by most junglers.
Big smile on his face. Well, that's not what the fans wanted to see, but maybe he switches it up towards the end. Or will it just be Spirit taking a turn on the Gragas? Mowgli didn't look too fantastic on it, but Spirit gonna show him how it's done.
Could be Keen as well. He is our resident top lane Gragas, but I agree with you. Seems like the excitement for the Evelynn will have to be abated for this one game. Focus on to Hanwha Life. They got a pick comp with good rotational play so far, and you know what fits in a pick comp? A Scorpion from the jungle could be a nice pickup here for Songwon. Gonna go back to this Skarner, favorite of Mowgli actually on the side of Afreeca Freecs, and something that he's played only recently. Songwon actually only played 2 games of Skarner in the last, I believe, 2 series, and then none beforehand this season. So super hardcore pick comp, and how about a Cho'Gath? This would be medium damage to low damage on the side of Hanwha Life, but very reliable to set up around objectives, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can set up. You have a ridiculous amount of CC. You also have the Feast to help out with some of those squishies, and the true damage against the Alistar is not going to be too bad, but does give the counter pick over to Keen, thinking about that cannon.
Would have to be an on-hit cannon. Doesn't really play into the rest, but 4-1 could be supremely strong here for for Afreeca Freecs if they do go for the AD cannon for Keen. Waiting for that lock-in. Just dealt with the AD cannon in game number 1, and they're going to sit on the Gnar instead. So this does provide them a bit more team fighting, but still a strong lane into the Cho'Gath. Expect this to be the hyper-focused Rage Blade build coming out from Keen after a Wit's End. Afreeca Freecs have very strong answers if they can get a lead. If they get a lead, and then Hanwha Live try to defend the mid lane turret against Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz looks at these members, researches a few of them, downloads them, and unloads true damage aplenty onto the threats from Hanwha Live. But from behind, the Vel'Koz can get poked out. Early game really needs to be reinforced by Afreeca Freecs. Hanwha Live dictated to them in game number 1.
This is going to be Afreeca with their lives on the line. They need to win this one, at least force it into a 2-1 either way so they don't get eliminated today. We said it before, Hanwha, if they 2-0 Afreeca, they are straight into the playoffs. And they also kind of pick away at SKT's chances. We mentioned if Hanwha Life does get 4th place, if they win in the wild card match, then SKT will also be knocked out of the Worlds qualifiers and will not have any chance to make it in there. So a lot of praying viewers, perhaps, coming into game number 2.
Spirit comes into game number 2, having watched Seonghwan in game number 1. But Seonghwan, of any jungler in Korea, is the most likely to scrap what he did in the game and do something completely different. This guy next levels himself sometimes. He can next level the best junglers as well. Hanwha Life Esports, very strong pick comp. Even pre-6 this Skarner could get a lot of work done.
A lot of good lanes to go towards. We'll see what he decides to pick and how he will try to path around Spirit as well. He already out-jungled one Afreeca jungler. Can he do it to the second one, the veteran of Spirit? Is another question we do have to ask ourselves. Can Kuro pop off on the Vel'Koz once again and get another win for his squad? Another question to be answered as the countdown has started. Let's jump into game number 2 right now. Both these teams have big crowds out there. We're pretty much sold out here. All the seats that I can see are filled up in the Nexon Arena. And it's going to be a big one. Kuro does have the winning matchup in the mid lane, but we'll see if Seonghwan can try to shut him down. I think that's going to be one of his big priorities in this game as well. And
let's watch and see how this new school Rise does in another tricky matchup, because it's been doing very well in the Orianna matchup. Ori doesn't have quite as much kill threat at level 6 as the Vel'Koz does, but the ability to index into what you see here. It's all about the utility tree, the Biscuiteer and the Time Warp Tonic. Not starting a Doran Ring or a Sapphire Crystal, but starting onto the Corrupting Potion, getting a Dark Seal, and just focusing on shrugging off trades. You can shrug off Vel'Koz to a point, but from level 6 onwards, when he stands and delivers, there's very little Rise can do.
Going to be a big matchup in the mid lane. Linderong looking to at least scout out Keen here, try to take that early trade with his E. Forces a hop away from Keen already. So we'll get the win in the top side so far. Always interesting when you're watching Hanwha Life to take a good look at Seonghwan's pathing. He's always the guy who loves to mix things up, and already starting on the blue and going for his Gromp. We'll see what weird and wacky path he'll decide to take in game number 2.
And you notice Afreeca have a bit of a lead in terms of true vision around both scuttles. There's one ward top side for Hanwha Life, but no ward bot side. Even with that, if you can just surprise people with your pathing, it's actually quite hard to take advantage of this information. Should mean that if they take the Scuttle, Gragas can start invading bottom side, but he's killing Scuttle himself. Let's see what Spirit learned from watching Seonghwan in game number 1. Whether the download can be complete from him. And in the mid lane, we will see Vel'Koz at level 5 get 3 points in his W and start to shove the wave, but earlier, a little bit more tricky to do.
Trying to take those good trades up against Lava, and so far he is. Exactly what we have expected. He's beginning to push a bit as well. And we were talking about the path here from Seonghwan. Instead of going for an early level 3 gank on the Trundle, He's just clearing everything out right now. He took the whole top side, including the scuttle, went to his raptors. Now he's at his red. And just a bit of a farming start here for Hanwha.
Because that's not something he does every time, like an ambition, for example, it's actually one of the least likely paths. If I like pressed you and said, okay, give me top 3 paths he was going to take, they probably would have included things like starting the raptors and then ganking top lane. Like, this is the sort of player he is. But the full clear makes a lot of sense on the Skarner. Wants to go back and get boots and most of his jungle item as well to set up for a Predator gank. In terms of keystones, do notice it's Hail of Blades from Songyun. Biggest player on the Jhin is Teddy. He goes between Fleet Footwork and the Hail of Blades, depending on how many auto attacks he feels like he's going to get. This is a lane domination keystone choice, and Unsealed Spellbook for Key is there as well.
Wants to do that damage, be aggressive in the lane. He has the Tahm Kench to help him out. Aiming on the Varus. Will just be looking to trade back rather than trying to be defensive with the Alistar by his side. So far, the top lane has been relatively even as well. Linderong keeping up even in the melee versus Gnar matchup. Cho'Gath pretty good against that. You know, you just take the Doran Shield, an extra pot, and you have a lot of extra sustain in your passive.
Definitely of the tank matchups, this is the strongest one into Gnar. What's your take on the skill, on the skin choice? It is the Loch Ness Cho'Gath here.
Yeah, it's pretty good. We were talking about Gentleman Cho'Gath before. There was one I saw yesterday.
The new one.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was a new one actually.
It is a new one.
It's really cool where he hops into the void, I suppose.
I'm gonna admit my bias. I actually do prefer the Loch Ness Cho'Gath if I'm going classic voice, or as you say, the Gentleman Cho'Gath.
Yeah.
If I'm rocking the Gentleman voice. I went Gentleman for so long that I forgot that the original voice had its own charm.
Yeah. He has like a mecha skin, right? It's not. Is it called mecha?
The legendary one where he plays the boombox.
Yeah. That's the one that I use. I do these weird things in solo queue where I'll just fall in love with the champion and then play like 50 games of it in a row. I did that with Cho'Gath in this season. Had that moment with him. Just started playing top lane for no reason.
Do you want my little thing I do with skins, because some people just have a favorite skin and they always use it.
Yeah.
The only kind of skin rule I have is that if there's a champion that can be played, let's say AP or AD, I actually have a skin for the AP version and a skin for the AD version. It just feels right, you know? It's just a bit of a role play I enjoy doing, so that's where I'm at. If it has a real defined playstyle difference, then I do actually take a different skin.
I like it, you know, it's something different. I usually just take whatever the legendary or the cool one is. I started playing Star Guardian Ezreal instead of Pulsefire, actually, which is what I was using.
Pulsefire was bugged for so long that I never used it. It had the famous thing where you lost hit a minion, you wouldn't get the sound.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, that's annoying.
So I didn't use that one. I was originally a Frosted Ezreal player because I thought he looked cool. And most of the Korean 80 carries of Season 2 would use Frosted Ezreal. The only one I wasn't a big fan of was Woong, who also uses Frosted Ezreal. And I was like, well, you know, you take the good with the bad when it comes to your Ezreal players.
What about, what is that one where he looks dapper, where he's wearing like a suit? Which one is that?
Oh, Debonair Ezreal?
Yeah, Debonair.
Well,
I used that a little bit just because it had chromas. Well, so I like to have different types of suits on. You know, I role play into pink or into brown.
Well, the original equation before those skins were out there was you either Nottingham Ezreal, which was double lift Season 1, Season 2 Ezreal skin, or you were Frosted, which is what most of the Korean players took. Even though I was an OG COG fan, rocking that Frosted Ezreal, man.
I like it. Haven't had much happening in the early game as both junglers just decided, hey, we're going to farm, we're not going to attack. We will just protect. That's going to be it.
Farm. Jhin and Varus do the same thing. It's not lethality Jhin this time. It's lethality Varus this time, so needs to be able to kill a Cho'Gath. You can't go lethality Varus into Cho'Gath Tahm Kench and have a happy time.
Yeah.
So that ends up just being a farming phase. We'll see where the items turn this game. It's actually, itemization-wise, interesting from Kuro. He actually rushed the CDR boots, maybe aware that he would have to use his flash or cleanse early and return to those cooldowns. Does delay the lost chapter.
Looking to get on to Keen here. It is the Gnar, and he has his flash available, but there it is. Sungwon gonna come in and looking for first blood again. He's gonna get it for his team. Sungwon, he's on point tonight, and that means good things for Hanwha Life.
And it's good things for the Cho'Gath ganks as well, because suppression into silence, nowhere to jump to. The snowball starts on the top side, and all they can get in the mid lane is an answering flash from the Rise.
It was really good timing too. No minion to hop onto, no escape for Keen. It's so hard to get away from a Skarner with Predator on level 6 with flash, and that's exactly what he ran into. So a really good start here for the side of Sungwon and Linderon on the top side.
1-3-1 will be so epically powerful for Hanwha Life. We'll talk about it when the champion overlay is up. But consider your options here as Keen. You hop and you're like, oh, this is bad. Chilling Smite was in range, flash ult, silenced. There's no other time to do anything. The mini Gnar needs to be, it's Mega Gnar. Obviously the equation is harder because the wallop can really make your life a bit of a living hell. But no wallop, no problem for the side of Hanwha Life. Really well done. And then the 1-3-1 that I was just alluding to gets so scary. Rise patrols one side lane. Vel'Koz doesn't really want to hit a side lane to follow him, just like an Orianna. The Cho'Gath is going to be just fine until Gnar has 2 items. Blade the Ruin King and Rage Blade kind of have to be done to truly dunk on the Cho'Gath to get the double hyper procs going, where every second auto is the hyper. Someone taking some free damage. But the mid lane trio of Jhin, Tahm Kench, and Skarner, a lot of pick there. This might be Skarner dead.
Yeah, Sungwon is not going to be able to Realm Warped away, and the Abyssal Voyage was used by Keen.
A little bit too late.
We're getting really greedy over that one control ward, and well, that's Sungwon for you. I don't know what to tell you, Hanwha Life fans, but he does good sometimes. Other times he does evil for his team.
Definitely goes really hard when he thinks he can, and sometimes misjudges it. Now, it's usually to the benefit of his team, but in this case, was well caught out. Just needed to be more respectful with his summoner down. His summoner used in full vision of Afreeca, of course, so he knew just very well that there was no flash to escape. Kuro gets the first kill, and we definitely know we can stack the kills together as the Vel'Koz.
Kill number 1 probably going to be the first of many here for Kuro, who still has both of his summoners. No flash on Lava currently. Looks like it was used around the same time that Sungwon had to flash, so not good feels for him just yet. Key actually hanging around the mid lane, as Songyun did go back in the bottom side, so helping out a little bit. The roam, though, is going to go towards Tusin, as after they get the kill on Skarner, able to get a bunch of the vision away. And that means that they're going to move on towards this Infernal Drake as well. Have a nice little engage on the backside, but perfect stopwatch usage to stop the Impale coming in from Sungwon. That means that the Infernal Drake should go over to the side of Afreeca.
All still available on everyone, including the Skarner.
The Smite is going to be able to secure it here. There's the huge engage from Tusin! Oh boy, he's back at least for game number 2. Gets the 3-man knockup, only 1 kill on the backside, but man, is he angry on the bull.
I will never not shout about the W taxi flash Qs. Beautiful stuff from the Alistar. Claim the red buff on the bot side. Linderong starting to feel the pain a little bit, walked up too far in lane. And Tusin trying to play himself back into form with some really big Alistar plays.
Hanwha Life, they really wanted to stop that Infernal Drake, but there was no can-do as, well, Tusin said no himself.
Tied up with a WQ, and this was the one where Kuro makes the nice play, using a stopwatch, gets stunned, but it doesn't matter. The play could have been over here. The Infernal was already very likely to be picked up by Afreeca, but they try anyway to try to get a pick at the end because the ult's up. Watch this play. WQ flash is the play there, as you're able to use the movement already from the headbutt to set you up for a nice flash into the backline. Nicely played from Tusin. It doesn't win the game, but it certainly wins the hearts. And also, that's the sort of thing that gets your team going. That's the thing that gets the blood pumping on all the players. Backs against the wall when it comes to playoffs. They need to win the game. So nice little move from Tusin.
And again, it's a second kill to Kuro, who now has a QSS on top of his cleanse. Is that taking it a little bit too far? Either way, he's just not going to die or get CC'd. Speaking of which, they're looking to get on top of Songyun and Key here, trying to turn it around on a Tusin, actually. The cast is going to be a weird one here. TP coming on in is going to be canceled. Actually, on the backside, someone wanted to show up as well, but nobody will go down in the exchange.
Worried a little bit there because it's the Hail of Blades Jhin. You saw an execution kill with the passive coming through, but not going to happen. Stopwatch used onto the Tahm Kench means a tool was wasted. The important thing actually there was the captive audience slow actually stopped the Gragas getting into ult range. Speaking of ults, Songwon's on another one-man mission.
It's going to happen again. He flashes away this time. It's the second time. And now aiming is going 1v1. He's going to hit him into Kuro. Feeds him another kill, the alley-oop. But it looks all pretty and nice for Afreeca. But Songwon, man, he's got to hold it together here.
Songwon giveth, Songwon taketh away. Only one kill has not been registered. With Songwon involved in everything, but 2 ways has been a negative involvement. Linderong just slowly trying to endure pressure in the top side. Songyun still farming in the bot side, but a couple of worrying moments around the Hanwha Life jungler as he's just on a solo mission again.
And not even just the control ward. He stays for the Spire. He's like, yeah, this is okay.
15 gold, that's gonna be closer to my first item. Instead, it gets him close to the death chamber. The flanking Varus is the deadliest. Love the little blasting plant to confirm the kill. Kuro always seems to get incredibly fed when he plays the Vel'Koz. Somehow, 100% kills always goes well with the Vel'Koz. He actually gets a QSS snowball from this and isn't falling off in damage either.
Yeah. He's going to be super safe against any kind of CC. Will not go down to the Impale either. Make sure that he can survive against that in the mid lane, and well, means that Afreeca is going to take the lead here in the early game. Infernal and 1,000 gold to their side. What else can they get off of this now that Kuro has double buff, 3 kills, and is going to be scaling incredibly fast?
And I was absolutely thinking the same question, but I was just thinking about the Kuro part. What can they get off a 3-kill implied super snowballed Vel'Koz? Already mentioned in Champion Select, he seems like the game breaker here. He has so much threat onto the medium range of Hanwha Life outside of Jhin that he can definitely do some siege breaking as this game goes on. Keen, not going to face check Songwon just yet.
Okay, he is going to face check him now, though. The stun comes in, and, well, he's going to trade ult for a stun as Keen will hop away from that one.
Reminder that Vel'Koz got that simple buff. See so little Vel'Koz around the world. He's almost a Korea exclusive pick, but always just get ungodly fed in Korea in recent memory does the Vel'Koz. 0.2 AP ratio on his very spammable Q. Super short cooldown even as a base. Means that that's an extra 20 damage basically every couple of seconds coming through from the Vel'Koz. Very nice pick. And that tentacle monster, usually the stuff of nightmares for Korean teams.
He's level 12, the highest in the game currently, above anyone else, and it's Kuro playing it. So as long as he doesn't face check anyone, well, at least he's got a QSS this time if he does face check. But the Vel'Koz quite squishy on the map. Interesting build here from Keen in the top side, the Wits End Rush after Merc treads, and the call is going to be shredding through the Cho'Gath and also surviving against anyone that's not the bot lane, I suppose.
Yeah, this is what I was speaking about. I thought Rageblade Wits End was coming out. It doesn't have to be in that order. Could just sit at Phage, go Black Cleaver, then the Rageblade, but you need a build that kills the Cho'Gath, and Cho'Gath has so few options against the Rageblade double proc hyper. It's just so frustrating to deal with. The mechanic there is that when you get Ginsu Rage, every second auto procs the hyper maximum health damage, as we know. Cho'Gath, he likes to eat, he likes to get big. He definitely is a thick boy. The thick boy gets chopped down by Mininar real fast.
That he does. The Cho'Gath going to be happier early on in the game, but then once things get going for Keen, it's going to be pretty sad for him. He's going to have to find other places to eat. Well, the Infernal went over to Afreeca, and now that they do have control of the river, although aiming here is in a little bit of trouble as the Scorpion is down in the bottom side.
Not spotted yet, spotted now.
A look to get onto Tucson here, but it is the Alistair TP coming on in. Spirit's here as well, waiting and waiting to use anything onto Tucson here. Still has the Impale available, does Songwon. Is trying to get on in there, but Spirit is going to be able to stun him up and push him away. Songwon still not able to use the Impale. Oh boy, Lava. Well, You're not able to win that trade as a 4th kill goes to Kuro.
Vel'Koz is truly science in Korea. We knew the moment he opened up that Lava was dead. Didn't flash, tried to take the trade, lost it. Another kill for the Vel'Koz, but bot lane turret might actually be first brick. The Gnar racing them.
Is going to go over to Sungyun. They're going to give him all of the gold. 600 in total goes to him. Keen will eventually get this one. Kuro also pushing the mid lane. So, although it's nice to get your first brick, you're losing everywhere else.
It's a down-tempo trade, as you're mentioning, as they're going to lose 2 turrets to make this play. The Rift Herald would be the ultimate objective to follow up. Hanwha Life, I thought they would give everything for the Rift Herald earlier in the game, but instead they commit the TP to this play. They give everything to make this work, and all it really does is get Sungyun out of lane first.
Yeah, I mean, they get the kill here on Tucson as well. He tries his best, uses stopwatch. They delay so much time in order to just, you know, get the 1 kill. Kuro here gets the knock-up, and, well, that's just the end of Lava.
But Lava knows he played this matchup a few days ago. The moment you start walking up trying to fish for a W, the Vel'Koz says thank you very much. The Vel'Koz had 3 kills before. He's still at 100% kills, by the way. Not participation, kills.
Yeah.
Ill-conceived from the Rise.
Yeah, you know, just you're banished to the top lane now. We don't want to see you in the mid lane anymore, Lava. 0 and 2. Lava, another guy with some of the highest numbers of MVP points. Feels like Lava and Sungwon are the only people that get MVPs on the side of Hanwha Life, which is part of the reason.
Shout out to Sungyun and Key. Probably deserve more than they got.
Yeah.
Linderung's just been stable after some pop-offs in the early couple of weeks. Linderung himself wants to pick up a Drake, but certainly doesn't feel great after that last exchange to only claim a Cloud Drake. Look at the jungle proximity. Sungwon spending a lot of time around his lanes, as we saw on top and bot side, but not necessarily yielding as much as Spirit was able to pick up with a lot less jungle attention.
Sungwon, if he just had those successful ganks and didn't die twice for no reason, that would have been good as well. Certainly something for the coaches to be kind of pulling their hair out, as Sungwon, he gets the first blood in game number 2 for his team, and then he just gets way too overconfident. If he could just control that, he would be so good in the jungle. He was just a little bit more consistent for Hanwha.
I do wonder, though, about how much he needs to play that way, because there's a lot of players around our league that really only found their success playing a single way, and then you start saying, change it up. Hard to do. Old habits die hard, as Shelly's going for the dive.
That's, you know, what Shelly does. That's her habit. And she's going to die hard as well. Goes down. They do get a nice little chunk onto the turret, but no kill there. Even so, Afreeca heavily in the lead here with 4 kills onto the Vel'Koz. The gold lead doesn't really reflect how ahead they are right now. It is only about 1,000 gold ahead for Afreeca. As I suppose Hanwha Life do have the Fed Jin here. 1 kill, Storm Razor, and Rapid Fire Cannon finished already. 211 CS. Gonna be flying high right now with Sungyun at least.
Flyability of the Jin against the Gnar, Gragas, and Alistar remains to be seen. Should be mentioned that it is full damage Keen so far, so I guess he's not so worried about the Gnar. But Alistar can frustrate Jin by just tanking his damage and skill shots. With the curtain call, for one, Spirit says, I won't go AP. This is a rare thing for him if you're watching the LCK for one of the first times this season. He loves to go Runic Echo into Proto Belt, and a very aggressive build. Could still be the Proto Belt, but first thought is going to be Magic Resist instead, coming through from the Gragas.
You got to deal with the Rise Burst, also the Cho'Gath Skarner, having a little bit in their kit as well. Maybe something to help out the Vel'Koz. I suppose he can go into Knight's Vow from here if he wants to try to keep that 4-0 Vel'Koz alive a little bit longer. We'll see what he does pick up.
We should talk about when they pick up, though, because the items are really rolling through. Kuro has 2 core items and a QSS. The QSS taxes have been paid by both Kuro and Spirit. and there's only a small gold lead, resulting if you deduct the gold for those 2 QSSs. 2 items done on aiming, which means that with enough time, he can actually kill the Cho'Gath in the front line. That's some good news for the Afreeca Freecs. There are good item timings, and your first thought is that if Kuro is unharassed in the back line, it's probably going to be an Afreeca Freecs Team 5 victory.
Yeah, we've seen it before. Velcons can do some crazy stuff. Crown was definitely one of the big names that was bringing it in all the time. Got to play the other day. It's good for him. He was able to take the win up against Jin Air. But Kuro also trying to get in here. Speaking of getting in, it's Linderong trading flash for flash with Keen, who didn't want to get feasted.
I guess that's a good trade, trying to think about who needs to flash more. Repositioning with the Gnar ultimate's probably a bit more valuable than Cho'Gath, because he's just going to sit there and wait for a Rune Prison, then try to queue the same target. Bit strange. I don't know how much kill pressure he really had there. But Linderong, he thinks about the game differently to me. Makes the play anyway.
Now that the flash is down, you talked about trades in terms of the upcoming teleports and 5v5s, but what about having a Skarner rush at you with Predator if you don't have flash as the Gnar? Could be one way to get him, but Keen is going to play passive enough. And, well, they don't see a Skarner, and I'm sure Afreeca are wondering, where is the Skarner? Even someone going to cancel his back. How long will he AFK in this bush, Papa?
Well, to his credit, he usually doesn't actually channel the back. He usually just chills there. The answer was about 30 seconds. Looking for the pick. He has his flash up. Summon is up on everyone except for the top laners.
Yeah, bottom lane, it was a good passive call out of Keen as they didn't see Skarner, and so he didn't get picked. Skarner going to join up here now on the mid side alongside Linderong. They're actually grouping up as 5 as they had the pressure in the bottom side. But no big objective to go for just yet. I mean, we've been seeing Songyun, you know, he does only have 2.5 items right now here at 25 minutes, but already he's beginning to do a nice amount of chunking damage, even as Spirit.
For certain, he is strong at this item timing. Abuses Stormrazor better than really anyone else because of the ability to take celerity, and with the movement speed to damage calculation and his passive. Really, really does with all the attack speed and movement speed of Hail of Blades, Stormrazor Jhin. Get to big AD totals. Do consider also, when it comes to the side lane plays, you can make a lot more ganking plays when you have Abyssal Voyage Realm Warp. And we already saw the great Realm Warp in game number 1 to get them to Baron. Same thing could be used to try to hunt Gnar in the side lane. So the open season stuff, where you're going around looking for ganks on people without flashes, does seem to suit Hanwha Life. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of BF swords onto the Jhin.
Key is going to cleanse ahead of, you know, being shot in the face by a laser. Didn't want to die there. Got another Drake just about to spawn. It looks like that one will just default over to the side of Afreeca, but Lava just going to take away a turret as Keen is looking to take away the bottom side. Cho'Gath not in position here to stop that push, and so maybe just a trade for the turrets and another Drake, but trying to maybe sneak into the Baron here.
Nice little ward, creative ward, I believe placed by Tucson right on the edge of the Spire. Movement speed does spot them posturing around this Baron. So they give up the bot lane turret as a result, an overall trade, but they lose the Mountain Drake, the extra objective that Afreeca Freecs are able to pick up. Sweeper-wise, there is 2 sweepers on the side of Hanwha Life, but none of them available to sweep out that vision.
Perfect ward. Stop them. They also blue trinketed into the pit just to make sure nothing was happening down there.
With the Jhin on the lineup, the Baron speed is not the highest on the side of Hanwha Life. They don't have a Rageblade, Blade of Rune King carry like Afreeca Freecs does, but the secure with the Cho'Gath and potentially 2 smites is very high. Always like to differentiate between Baron damage and also Baron secure. Even Baron turn, there's actually much more nuance around a Baron take than just can they kill it. It's how, why, when, and how long it takes is the really big thing.
So the enemy team too, you know, how well they can engage into the Baron pit and what engage they have usually.
something like the Orianna and the ability to get vision with the ball over the wall, and AoE ults are very strong against Baron takes as well. Speaking of Baron takes, Afreeca Freecs playing around with this one.
This is one way to do it. We got 2 members in the red side jungle here for Hanwha Life. Some pings going down now. Here's Lava going to spot them out, and Afreeca just going to turn around.
It was a wards. They had some idea, but they were waiting for a bit more confirmation, like the Vel'Koz roaming up. No free lunches this time.
So it is just going to stalemate here in the middle game. Neither team able to sneak away a Baron. Afreeca still thinking about it. They're going to secure all the vision around side of it. And you'll notice that Hanwha are in the awkward spot where it's like either we face check or we get some very shallow vision to try to see them moving into that area. Otherwise, it's going to be hard. Keen hasn't been able to try to go for any solo kill. Pressure in the side lane. It's just been kind of slowing down here. It allows Jin to get his Infinity Ends, but also the Void Staff to Kuro.
And now I think we really are able to direct our viewers' attention before a fight starts, rather than just shouting about every little moment, because consider where the gold lies and who the carries these fights are. It's so obvious. It will be Jin, who has an auto-attack focused Jin build, against Vel'Koz, who is way ahead. Look at the damage dealt this game. It is 11,000 already from the Vel'Koz. Draw your attention to those two if you're at home, Songyun and Kuro. Whichever one is able to min-max their damage, spend less time moving, more time doing damage, should be the hard carry of a fight. That is the victory for their side.
Yeah, the Jin crits a lot in the face of anyone, really. Even Spirit, we were talking about maybe picking up some MR. He has the Merc Treads and the QSS, but basically no armor in the build.
He's going to get the money to you next week, Valdez. He's still paying his taxes, only just got his tax return in. Paying for the QSS, and that does mean better part of 4,000 gold, with only a 1,500 gold lead, has been spent on QSS to try to make Songwon as irrelevant as possible.
Yeah. No QSS on the side of Hanwha Life, so they didn't have to pay their tax. It's a pretty expensive item when you think about it, and when 3 members on your side pick it up. I know it has the utility, but in terms of straight up gold in effective damage items and better tanking items, definitely Han will have the lead there. Suppression
is just so annoying that the way you deal with it is usually get a QSS and try to ignore it. Linderung walking up to Keen. We know that Rise is here.
Yeah, Keen is going to hop the correct way, though. No further play, as the knockup is going to miss.
But what is the reliability on killing a Gnar with Flash, with Rise, Realm Walk, and a Cho'Gath? Pretty low, as we could see. He's still here, though.
This is one way to do it, but it's Mega Gnar who can hop and has his Flash still available. They get the Flash away, and the Rise still does have his TP. It looks like Afreeca really want to force that out, or at least get another objective here.
One auto, crit onto aiming.
Aiming at half health. Is it going to matter? Songyun's thinking about it. Really wants to get on in there, gets the slow. A miss on both, actually. The QSS coming in, and now we got a dragon behind you all. Trying to flash on in with the impale. There's the laser going down to only Key, but opening on up here is Songyun. Someone gonna get really low. The flash on him from Lava. He gets the kill on the
clean this one up.
He wants to wrap around here. Key is gonna go down. And 4 members of Afreeca still grouped up together in that tight formation means that Hanwha not gonna attack them. Looking for objectives perhaps, but no. Not enough minions, they'll just back away and take the 1-for-1 trade.
QSS stopwatch instantly from Spirit meant that he was only gonna be a matter of time until he had to disengage from the fight, flashed out. It was a close fight, but no auto attacks from Jin. And Afreeca Freecs are trying to take a fallback Baron here. Let's see if Hanwha Life expected.
Well, we got Linderung moving on in. We'll see if he does get into position to spot this one out. Looks like he will. It's 1v4, but he's able to stop them alone as the rest of the Hanwha Life lineup was coming on in. Even TP being used into the mid lane.
Good stuff from Linderung. Good call. Probably a team call there too. Check the Baron. Linderung looks really funny. He was halfway between auto-attacking the...
Speaking of
which...
they
know they went back. Well, they would have inferred this. They're just going straight for it.
I mean, that was 4 members that went back.
Can this happen 2 games in a row?
If you can afford to do this up against Cho'Gath, who has his feast still available.
Spirit won't get there in time.
Not going to be able to lock him down. The spike comes in into the feast. They get the knockup on the Linderong, and they get only the kill onto the Cho'Gath, but it's 4 members now that have Baron on the side of Hanwha Life.
These full disengages from Afreeca keep getting punished, but they want to catch.
What is this? Running straight into the Alistair key. Not going to be able to get away from this one. Songyun with no flash available. Trying to crit down Kuro is not going to be able to do just that. But, well, you guys took the wrong road down the wrong alleyway here, and you're going to be punished for that as well.
Both teams make a critical mistake. The path back to mid was so greedy by Hanwha Life. They get taken out, and they're going to lose, at minimum, an inhibitor with a 35-second death timer.
Well,
Afreeca might just try to end the game.
We saw this yesterday, Gen Z versus Jinair. You get the Baron, but you lose too many members, and, well, can you stop it? There's the engage from Tucson, the follow-up damage, and oh boy, Hanwha Life is going to be aced down here. Both members go down, and it looks like Afreeca will keep their playoff hopes alive as they take game number 2 in the series.
Big mistake on both sides, but Hanwha Life get punished. Afreeca Freecs now guarantee that today's result will not impact fully who goes through between Afreeca and Hanwha Life. These are the only teams fighting for the 5th spot, the final spot in playoffs. A 2-0 clean victory from Hanwha Life was the only way it would be decided today. Now the series goes to all 3 games, and now the result of their future matchups. Afreeca Freecs, they have to face Jinair, one of the bottom 3 teams. Hanwha Life have a match against KT. So this is suddenly really much a huge domino that starts to tip all around that will only be decided later in the season.
And what a way to throw out going straight into playoffs from today with the 2-0 victory and losing that game. They get the Baron, a really nice call, and then all of a sudden you're running straight into the enemy team through your own jungle. You're gonna have to take a look at the replay and why they thought they were safe to do that.
Baron goes down, the Realm Warp disengages, we feel bad for the noble Cho'Gath, he goes down, the Loch Ness Monster suddenly extinct.
They're taking the Gromp!
They take the Gromp, and then they just say, ooh, there's farm mid lane, says Songyun. He gets spotted on 1 ward, Tucson gets the headbutt pulverized with no flashes. Could have just taken the Baron and taken the safe route, but greeding for farm is why they lost the game.
And he, assuming that the other 2 members would be right around the corner, he goes the wrong way. It's just a disaster after they make that crucial mistake. That is so unfortunate. What an unbelievable way to lose that game.
What a tilter, Valdez, for both this series and their playoff hopes. Hanwha Life Esports, they had just pulled off the highway robbery and they got robbed. Literally the first car down, robbed them afterwards.
And you can tell that Afreeca, they still have a lot on their mind after that one. It wasn't clean, but they get the victory. We'll be back after a quick break.